So today in this session, I'm going to discuss about how you can approach towards a software development and how you can make use of softwares uh, in your business improvement. So that is what I'm actually going to discuss today. About me, I'm founder of Neonicz Software Solutions Private Limited. My name is Arun R S Chandran. So I have a couple of other ventures also I founded, named Spotbay, and which is a software platform, and a YouTube channel called Skill Bells, where I give free training, technical training for the users. And I have more than 13 plus years of in IT industry experience, and I work with more than 50 plus large scale projects, software projects. And I have completed my executive program in business administration from IIM Calicut. And in part-time, I mentor startups, students, and upcoming tech developers, software developers. Today, this particular session is organized by BNI Dhairyam chapter, and I'm thanking everyone in my BNI Dhairyam chapter for supporting the initiative, and a special thanks to Mr. Hiran Modi sir, our president, to take it up forward. And today's session, I will be covering software and mobile applications and certain steps towards your software, how you can approach a software company, or how you can make a successful software. So, and also I'll be discussing or sharing some of my tools which I'm actually using for a successful software development, which is freely available, which you can also use for your team management and all, and a cost-effective software development. And I will be speaking a little bit about lean startup methodology. So here's my first question. Different forms of software, where and all you are actually seeing a software. Say you have been seeing that you have cloud softwares, which is software as a service platform. So you can see many of the platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn. So these kind of applications are running on a cloud. So what is basically a cloud? Cloud is nothing technical. It is actually a computer which you use in your home. It may be a little bit more configuration or more performance oriented computer sitting on some private places, which is accessible through a public service. So which is actually through internet you can access that particular servers. That is what actually called a cloud. So it is basically you can install a software in your MacBook or PC. The same way it is installed somewhere in the remote, and you access it through your internet. And of course, the mobile application. So each and every mobile applications you install on your mobile is a software. And desktop applications like the Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel sheet, and media player, all these things you are using, and some third-party softwares also you use. So all these are actually softwares. And definitely robot is just a machine or just a hardware without a software in it. So we need to use artificial intelligence or analytics based softwares or automation softwares inside the robots to control the robots, to help it's working. And definitely in the new era, the vehicles like cars, jeeps, and all are coming up with softwares attached to it, where we can control the vehicle from outside the vehicle as well. And the vehicle tracking systems, which is connected to a cloud service, which will be helping you to monitor where your vehicle is and what is the vehicle condition right now, how much speed it is running. So those kind of information can be collected using a software from the vehicles. And definitely the wearables. So the Fitbit, Apple Watch, Samsung Watch, all these things that wearables are helping you to communicate with your body. It helps in your healthcare segment, and also it reminds you your sleeping time, your meeting reminders. So there are a lot of things in the wearable also as coming as part of software. And a lot of machines which is used in the industry is actually using or running on top of softwares now with the help of IoT, which is that is interconnectivity, means connected devices, so the devices can communicate each other. So that purpose also we are using the softwares. So the softwares are almost everywhere. So if we don't have softwares, you cannot see something which is actually live or working, which is going to be something like a desert. Nothing will be working without a software. So it is some kind of a life which we are providing to a machine or a hardware. That is where the requirement of software comes in. So actually, this is a representation of how a project is actually handled and what would be the reasons of failure. So we all know the dilution of communication. So from the person 1 to reaching it into the 10th person, I pass an information. That information will be modified or changed or diluted, or it is actually reduced. So that is actually happening. So in this case, actually the requirement the user, the customer wanted to develop is the last picture. So that was the outcome they were expecting. But how the customer in the sense the one who wanted to develop the software actually approached to a company and explained in the form of the first picture, and how that project leader or the project management understood it is the shown in the second picture. And that project leader is explaining this to the designer, and designer designed it with his creative mindset, and he designed it in the third picture that you see. And how a programmer is writing that code for that particular design is represented in the fourth picture. And whatever happened, the salesperson cannot sit freely. He have to sell it. So he exaggerate, or he explicitly promotes the product with the extraordinary features. That is how actually he sells the product to a customer. And then how much documentation we have done for the product is actually shown in the sixth picture, which you can see there's barely no documents. And what operations actually installed it after the sales process, the operations are going and installing the way they understood is a rock on the tree. So that's it, they understood. But how the customer was built, it's beautifully built, but the customer who asked to develop the product. And how the help desk is going to support the product is the way you can see. There is no tree at all. So this is what the help information get modified or updated or changed in time to time. So that is how a software development or a IT project can be run into a drastic failure, or it may not bring the accurate result what we were expecting. As per the Project Manage Institute, a successful software project execution is measured on 6 particular measurements are there. So it is delivered on time, then it is successful. It is not only all these 6 need to be met. Then its cost does not exceed its budget. So the project owner, the product owner who wanted to build the software, he would definitely have a particular amount of budget which he might set for the project. So it should meet under the budget. and of course it should work as designed or as expected. So this is what the product which I was dreaming of, it should be working in the same way that I was expecting. And definitely, see, with all these things, the people should use it. If the people are not using it, it is again a waste of time and waste of money which we invested in that particular software project. Definitely there will be investors who invest or who is actually funding on the project. They should be happy with the result of what we have done. And of course, what actually drove the project, it should meet all the goals of that, what drove the project. So how we can achieve all these things in a software development is what actually we have to discuss. So whose requirement is this? This is the one, I or me or who we are actually supposed to develop a software. It might have a purpose, not it might, it should have a purpose. So this should either help in reducing my execution cost of my office, or it should bring me more money on table, it should help me in saving, or it should help me in organizing. All these things actually belongs to a return on investment. So if I invest some amount, if I invest my time to build a software, it should give me a return on investment in either way. Either it should be incrementing my company or organization productivity, or it should help me earning money, or it should help me in saving money. So these are different aspects you should see a product development for your organization. So who is the best person to document the product? Is none other than you. You can only decide on the product what you actually need. So decide on the minimal things, have your bigger dream on board, but design on the minimal things. Don't design everything upfront, because a project execution, if you give a lot of requirements, the cost is going to be high. What will help you to develop your minimum viable product, or what will help you to run it on the market? That is called the go to market strategy, and all those basic things what you need to start with a minimal investment. You should focus on that part. So you should be capable enough to document your project and the scratch requirements. And you will definitely have a rough estimate on time and money, what you have budgeted for this, and how much time I have, or maybe if I don't get the project running in next 6 months, the software running in 6 months, it is a waste of money or waste of time I'm investing for that 6 months. So you should have the estimate, and you should stick on the estimate. So before you approaching to any company, you should come up with all these details. Then you should be always asking the development team about your present requirements. So the first thing after you've done the first two things, what you are going to do is you are going to discuss with a team of experts, and you're sharing your idea of that software to that team. Ask them to prompt it back, ask them to present it for you in front of you, so that you will understand the team who actually received your requirement, whether they understood the complete requirement as you dream it of. So that you have to ask them to present it back. That would be a great thing which you can do for your confirming your software requirement is well conveyed to the development team. And strictly there is no assumptions, because I'll tell you an example. Once there was a requirement came, they need a registration form. So they just mentioned to the developer that we need a registration form. So he made a registration form with some email ID and a password, or some date of birth with some basic details. But the client actually wanted to have a cross check of whether the person has already registered. what the developer thinks, that is, the customer shared him the requirement of the registration, he developed the registration, but he actually didn't check about the cross checking of whether the user has already registered, whether the email ID has already registered. That is definitely not explicitly conveyed to the developer by the customer. So ultimately what happened is he delivered the product without that cross checking. So a lot of duplicate registration was happening and allowing, so it affected the login feature of that particular product. So the product miserably failed on its first release. Then they came back and checked with this troubles what happened. Then the developer claimed that you didn't share me that requirement. Then the customer was telling that is a default requirement. So there is nothing default. You have to explicitly ask, I need this. Then only they are going to develop it for you. So all those things should be considered under a checklist, and that checklist need to be evaluated each time when the delivery comes from the development team. And I have seen in my career, I have seen many of the customers who have shared the document, and they think that after 3 months of 3 months, they have mentioned the timeline. So after 3 months, the development team is going to deliver what I was expecting, which is not going to happen in most of the cases. So some of the projects which are failing, the reason is you are not part of the development team. So you be part of the development team so that you can keep track of them, what they are doing, whether it is coming on your own way, whether it is going into the right direction or not. At least a day, a 15 minutes or 10 minutes, discuss with the team and see the progress what they have made up. So that is a great thing which you can do to your own investment towards a software project development, so that you can ensure that the project is going in the right direction. And the next thing is be incremental in production rather than going a single shot. Say I want to develop something in an year of time. There is no need, you need to share all those information with the end developer, because the developer is a guy who might be having 2 years or 3 years or 5 years of experience. He might not understand the complete business dream what you have in your mind. That guy knows coding. He is a techie. He does know coding. He's always in the coding. So if you give two different features, and it is going to confuse that developer, and he is most probably going to collapse the particular requirement which you are going. So let us focus on making the developers focused on one thing at a time, that one particular module, one particular requirement need to be finished, and then move on to the next requirements. Because you can very well keep your dream within you, and you can understand how the developer or the development team is actually performing on it, and based on that you can share your share the next set of requirements to that particular developer. But you can definitely let the project lead or a manager or a broader business analyst or a product owner who is available in that particular organization. You can very well share your bigger dream to them, not to a developer. And definitely this is a mandatory requirement. You should always if you are not a technical person, you should always discuss with a consultant who understand between the business and the technical things. So he should be capable to understand what your dream is, what you are actually proposing to, and he should be able to understand how a tech team or a technical company is actually going to perform or operate on these things. So he should be a best companion to you on making your project into a successful one. So this is what I was actually discussing about an incremental execution. So we were in this picture. It's actually a representational picture, not exactly this is going to happen, but you can understand. So the incremental execution means there will always be a product after each iteration. There will always be a product which will be useful or which can be utilized by the team. So that is, say I wanted to build a car. So here in the incremental model, he's actually going to build a skating machine, then converting that into a next stage like a bicycle, then attaching a motor to it and it become a motorcycle, and then finally he's going to build that the end dream of that car. So incremental model works better than that. All the time he is not happy with the in the first representation. You can see in the 1, 2, 3 steps he's not happy, and in the fourth step he's going to be happy. But most probably what's going to happen at the end of that high end product which he is going to build, he's going to get maybe the chances of bugs or the issues or errors in that particular thing might be very high. So probably you should keep the approach of incremental model. Every time you should be running with some kind of a product, and which will help you in investing less amount of money rather than investing too much money, like a 50% or 60% of advance in the first segment, which you are already invested a lot of money, and what you are going to get at the end result is not satisfiable, where you paid the 100% and you are not completely satisfied. At the same time, the incremental process, you pay less amount only for what you are going to get, only for what you are actually going to build. So this is how you can approach your software development. There are, according to me, this is my observation, there are three different ways where you can try your software development. So you can very well approach to an organization or hire a team of your own, and you can approach to a freelancer. So the advantages and disadvantages, or pros and cons of all these things I'll be mentioning here. If it is an organization, it is a registered firm, a private limited or an LLP company or a partnership firm. They will have their own set of rules, agreements, and their authenticity is verified, and it is legally agreed things, and the ownership of that particular product which you are going to develop with that team is going to be owned by that particular company. Owned in the sense that you are the actual owner, the IP, intellectual property is going to be with you, but at the same time the project ownership they will take, and they will be committed towards the deliverables of that particular project. And also the resource availability. There may be a developer who is going to resign from the company, so they will take care of hiring the new people for that development continuation of the product which you are dreaming of. It is a reduced risk. And you can very well hire your own team. Say you want to develop software product, so you can get help of a recruiter to find the team members. You can keep that team in your office itself, and you can manage them with your own management skills, and you can make them develop the software for you. Say there is a risk in maintaining and cost of maintenance, and in the previous case, the company who is in contract, they will take care of the resource availability. Here you need to manage with that. If a person resigns, you have to figure out another person to onboard in the company to develop your project. So that is the hiring a team. And of course, if you are not a technical guy, you may keep a external consultant who will be helping you to make decisions on the technical aspects and your team. And of course, if you approach to a freelancer, there's a warning here. You can very well use a freelancer if the project is going to end in a week of time. That is what I am actually thinking of, because that is my point. Because the freelancer, the most of the freelancers who are working as a freelancer, they are part-time players. They are actually looking for an extra income. So they will not charge you much, lesser than the previous two options. The charges will be less. But if the project is not going to end in a week of time, the project is going to be lagged, the freelancer can disappear. You cannot price him. Your money you invested is actually a loss, and again you have to come back to the other two options again, which is again going to charge, or you have to find another freelancer. He is going to, the chances are high, he is going to blame the first freelancer who approached the project. That's the reason I cannot work on the second project. This is going to be failure. So you are going to invest a lot of money. So if you are approaching for a scalable, long-term running project or a software which you are expecting a lot of support to run that project, in that case I will recommend the first two options only, if you are comfortable with that. So if you are too much money concerned and going with the freelancer side, you are maybe ending up with spending more money than spending it with an organization or hiring a team, is what actually most of the cases had happened. So there are some good projects developed by freelancers as well. Even the open source community also supported by a lot of open source projects, but they are working on a something like a crowd coding base. So each one actually giving some part of their capability based on their time. So it is completely unorganized. It can run unorganized because it's open source, but your product cannot be done that way. That is what I think. So how a project estimate or a billing approaches. Uh, in my organization, we follow these three approaches. In many of the organizations also, I have seen this. Apart from this, I have been seeing something like a profit sharing, or something like a equity sharing based development efforts also I have seen. At the same time, I will be explaining about the most commonly used three ways of project execution and billing approaches. It is a fixed price one is the first one. That is most common thing. You are actually sure about the product which you are going to be developed, which is going to be ending in less than 3 months, say 2 months or 3 months. You are going to finish or launch the product, which is complete requirement. This is a very simple platform. You don't need to think much about that, and you don't need to think about its scalability. You can very well go to the fixed price. So you share the requirement. The development team comes with a rough estimate on a fixed price and how much time they will take, what is the timeline of delivery. So they will charge you that amount. So you may have to pay from 50% to 60%. Different company follows different strategy of advance. So that is a maybe some companies approach us with milestone based as well. So you can work with the fixed price project. The money is fixed and the project timeline is also fixed. There is no change. If you are not delivering on this time, the money will not be released. That is the case in the fixed price project. But at the same time, you are not sure the depth of the software development which is going to happen. You are not sure about how much time it is going to take. You don't know how many resources you need. You don't know how much time it is going to take to launch the product. In that case, you're unsure about that. Then the best way to start with the project is time and material. You give one requirement and ask for the estimate. Only that particular, a very simple module, we will be asking. So how many resources you are using in your company? How many hours of effort you are putting in? So only for that hours it is built. So say 1 hour, this is my team's productivity. Then 8 hours you are supposed to give me this thing. So that kind of a time and material approach you can choose for approaching a product which you're unsure about the timelines, and it is very well suited for the timeline, scalability as well. The same time, there is iteratives, which is actually coming from an agile perspective. Agile is a project management which is supporting the incremental methodology, which is based on iterations. Say you have a bigger project which is going to run in an year. The full dream is going to be happening in 2 years of time. So as per the world current running pace, it may not be that 2 years your dream may change. Maybe after 6 months your dream may change, because the situations, the technology, everything is going to change. So your product which you are thinking right now might not have a relevancy after 2 years. In that case, you should plan iterations. Say in iteration 1, which is more or like a fixed price and time and material mixture. So you will have a particular iteration. This much many features I'm going to be with the core features that will be released in 1 month time. And after 1 month, you take this into the market and run the product. And again you collect some feedback and some more idea you will get, and again in the next month you are going to give another set of requirements which can be integrated on top of the core platform. So that is how you can reduce your amount when you want to say for example you don't have much budget, so you want to hold on with the current product. So still you will definitely have a project which is actually useful in your hand. So 3 months you made some product into some certain level which is actually useful by the users. Even that new features didn't come in that after the 3 months, you don't have a budget to implement it, still the people can use the product. So that is the advantage of having an iterative approach or the incremental approach. So there is always a clash between a customer and a software development company can occur. That is the cost variation and the time estimation. So initially time estimation provided by the software development company. What they are giving is a dream. What you have a dream, the same dreams, copy of that dream he is trying to replicate it from his own experience, and he is trying to give a rough estimation, and he himself doesn't know what is going to happen in the challenge. So in the early stage of what you were thinking of, in early stage the estimation time, it can be changed in 4 times to or fro. So maybe I say 4 days, it may be finishing it in 1 day, or it may be finishing it in 16 days. So it can happen. So that is a software development in the segment. You cannot decide on the timing or the cost in the early stage, but you can plan for it. You can brilliantly spend your money so that your time and the development team time will be well utilized, so that your project will not go into a failure. I cannot say will not go into a failure. The failure chances are less. So being said that, you should expect these known unknowns and unknown knowns, unknown unknowns and known unknowns. So these known knowns are, you can expect certain issues may occur in the application development cycle, or maybe sometime one development team which is actually supposed to work on a particular day, but unfortunately something happened. They had to take an off for that particular day. That work is not going to happen. So that is a can be considered as known knowns and known unknowns. There may be the we were expecting 1,000 people are going to use the platform in the initial days. We launched the platform. That is in the same time, there may be a possibility of 10,000 users going to use the platform. Ultimately, what is going to happen if the platform doesn't have the capability to hold on 10,000 people, it is going to crash. So that is something expected. But at the same time, you have unknowns as well. Like unknown unknowns in the sense, you are most probably, uh, you don't know what is going to happen. That is clearly unknown. So that is unexpected. Risks can occur in a software development cycle. So you need to be aware of that also while dealing or designing or developing your software products. So with that, I would like to share some of the useful tools and its classifications. See, in our projects, we are using most of the free tools for the project management and execution. Trello is one of the software, which is a cloud-based software, which you can manage your team members' tasks, and you can see the task progress in that Trello, which is open source, which is free of cost to use. There are premium facility also available, but definitely you can try this free software. And a tool called Slack, which is a collaboration platform where you can chat with your team members. So many times I have heard this question: what is the difference between WhatsApp and Slack? WhatsApp and Slack cannot be compared each other because it has two different flavors. Like Slack mostly integrates with different applications. Like say you want to analyze your website, Google Analytics. So you can integrate that Google Analytics with your Slack. Every day morning, you are going to get the number of visitors who visited yesterday in your website. So that is directly integrated into your Slack. The same way, the sales tools or project management tools. Some of you might have heard about the tools like Jira. So Jira can be integrated with Slack. There are n number of softwares which can be integrated with a Slack platform. So there, in addition to that, you can use HubSpot and Bittrex24. They are CRM tools, but mostly it helps in sales, in the sales life cycle. So you will have a sales life cycle, like you are prospecting a client, you are following up, arranging meeting, follow-up calls and meetings, and all those things will be recorded in the tools like HubSpot and Bittrex24. So those are the tools which are freely available in the market. And you can very well use Dropbox. Dropbox help you in sharing the documents with versioning in it. So you can share one document today, and you can overwrite that document or edit that document, which will be having a previous version kept on, and which you can collect the older version of the document. If you want to revert, you can revert that. So that will help you. That help you will be getting in the Dropbox. And there are a couple of other things which right now we are using for a team meeting. We can use remote team meeting, Zoom we can use, or Google Meeting, or Hangout kind of platforms are available. Nowadays, people are using Skype and WhatsApp as well for the same purpose. And by the way, I forgot that Slack also have that kind of a calling facility, which you can arrange meetings and all. You can integrate your meetings also with the Slack, and tasks also with the Slack. So Slack will help in that. And there is Loom, which, say for example, you found one bug in your application which you want to share with your development team. So how you will share? Rather than explaining it over a call or sending a document, you can just record the video in Loom and just share the link with that team, and that team can take care of that will be self-explanatory. When you send the video, this is how the bug happens, so this is what the problem. So that the team will be understanding easily, and they will be able to resolve the issue. And I use EasyVid and Cam Studio. So these are two different tools which I use for screen recording on my own desktop, and I use these tools to edit my videos, which I post on YouTube. So these are also free tools. They also have something like a premium version, which will give you some more additional features. And there are common terms used in the IT software development industry, like ERP, CRM, BPM, like that. So ERP is nothing but enterprise resource planning. What can be considered under enterprise resource planning? Your employee management software, or your attendance management software, your task tracking system, or something like a stock management system, or a billing software management system, or an inventory management software. So under these kind of things, so which are not mostly going to be outside of your organization. Whatever comes, whatever software which is getting used only inside your organization is comes under ERP, or enterprise resource planning. There are another set of things which is actually CRM. CRM is customer relationship management. Being said that, it is going to be, if an e-commerce platform, an e-commerce platform is a public facing platform where it has a customer relationship management included in it, where you are actually posting your reviews, your feedbacks, your product delivery tracking, and all those things are tracked by that customer relationship management software, and a backend team will be observing that. And BPM, as the process explains it, as the word explains, business process management. You want to run a business process inside your organization. Say for example, you want to hire someone, it is a business process management. So you first contact a recruitment company or recruiters inside your organization, and you share that yeah, information with them. This is what my requirement is. I need this many resources to my company. So then they start processing. They start receiving the resume. That is the second stage of the process. They filter the resume and they share it with you, that resumes, and you verify the resumes. That is third stage. And then fourth stage, you are conducting an interview for that shortlisted candidates. Then you are releasing an offer to the selected candidates. Then that person or the candidates are joining in your organization. There is a flow in it. This is a flow. There is a business process flow. So these kind of things which are that are comes under business process management. So these are some common things. There are many other short forms and terms which is used in the industry, which I don't want to explain in this forum. So if you hear some terms, you can very well ask me in later. I will be happy to explain you what it is. And there are some servers. Say whether you are going to work on a website or any software, the cloud presence or the online presence of the same thing is inevitable. So you just need to do that for a purpose. So you have certain cloud service providers, that is a cloud server providers, which you can start for free in the beginning. Later, when you are comfortable, you can pay. So AWS is Amazon Web Services, which is a cloud provider. So they provide $100 for 1 year, I believe so. That is the amount they offer you, $100 for an year of time. You can utilize that AWS platform. And they will provide you certain free services, and later point you can pay. And Microsoft Azure have a startup policy and a startup package, and AWS also having a startup package. If you are coming under a startup which is incorporated in some accelerators or under some government firms, you can very well apply for that. You may be getting a $5,000 to $10,000 of credit in your servers. The same is applicable for Azure, and Google Cloud Servers is another platform where you can get $3,000 of credit in the Google Cloud Servers if you are a startup. And DigitalOcean will offer you a 2 months $100 utilization. And if you are a startup, they are going to offer you a year $3,000 of credit, which you can freely sign up and utilize. And there are some other cloud providers are they are one in the leading in the industry, Linode and UpCloud. Both have their own pricing, but it is cheaper than AWS, Azure, and Google. So that is the reason I included these cloud platforms also here. now I'm moving into the cost effective software development. What you should think of, before you approaching to your software development. So you should definitely get a software done for free. That is 100% sure. You need to pay some amount, and you also have to invest your time on it. Then only the successful software delivery will happen. So you can take the lean startup approach. So the lean startup methodology, lean startup methodology is nothing but you may be having one or two developers, or one man. There is no managers. Actually, you are going to be the product owner. So maximum three people in a product you can develop. You can start developing. So as it is lean, it can move faster also. So you don't need to explain a 10-member team, and you don't need to spend your time with a 10-member team and answering all of their questions. Rather than, you can share it with one or two members of your team, and you can share the details with them, and they will be capable enough to understand your requirement easily, and your rapport between you both will be very high. And there is some options. Some people are offering you an equity based, so you pay some small amount and you pay some equity of your startup, so they will help you to build your product, which is a viable option for you to get your product onto the market. So once you are ready in the market, and your market is your product is hitting in the market, and it is showing the signs of succeeding, so then you can invest more money into the platform in later stage. So you don't need to invest too much money in the initial stage. And you should definitely have the checklist, what you actually need, mandatorily what you need to go to the market, or start working with the start usage of your product. You should have a checklist. So before all these things, if it is not necessary, you can run your application, your things, the productivity actions with an Excel sheet very well. Don't go for a software development. Don't invest in software development, which is your something like half-minded software development will always leading into a failure chance. So you should have a minimum checklist of a software which you are expecting to be getting delivered. So that is another thing which you can effectively reduce your cost. And of course, the incremental and agile methodology you can try in your projects, which you will be aware what is cooking up and what is going to get in your hand in a week of time, and what you can release to the public and get the feedback. So you invest less amount of money, and you can earn more productive result in that phase using agile platforms. And definitely, no hard work will not make you cost effective. It is smart work. Do only what is required. So as in one of my initial slides, I was explaining this. You don't need to, you don't need to explain all your dream. What is your end product after an year? That you don't need to share it with the developer, but the current things which you are expecting immediately, that can be developed. And continuous follow up and planning, and break the plan and replan again for the success of your product. So 1 month you are actually planning something, and in the next month the situations may change, and your plans are supposed to be changed. So be agile in that fashion as well. So you have to be sync with your development team, so that the development team understands you better, and you can understand better what they can do. So that is the things which I wanted to share in this session. So if you have any question and answers, Vijay sir, if anybody have any questions, you can just pass it on to me. I'll be happy to share my answers.
Yeah, there is one question that has come saying that we are all providers of services like insurance, training, infrastructure, etc. So what are the areas where you see potential area that we can create a software, or are we too small to make a software of our own?
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I have been interacting with many people in the same segment in earlier my career as well. So all of them will have very less budget, and you know, say buying an Audi car will be easy. You can get a loan, but maintaining the car will be costly. So that is the same thing happening here in the software development phase as well. You may be getting developed a software with 5 lakh or 3 lakh or 10 lakh or less than 10 lakh, which you invested. But after the development of the software, you may have some additional requirements and the maintenance of the software. You cannot avoid that. You have to maintain it. So you are not too small, but your community is a bigger one. Rather than building a software alone, include some more people, like some 5 insurance members who are actually working on the industry, who will be benefited of a particular software. Get that software developed and start using it. You may be after a period, you may be finding that viable, that you can create one more account for another insurance person. He may also pay a subscription amount to your platform, which you will be earning, which you don't have to pay to the that software development company. Also, the product which you launch, that would be helping helping the product running on its own revenue. So you don't need to additionally invest money for that product. So it is always better doing with many people in the sense, not too many. If you include 50 members, there may be a chances of crash. Maybe 5 to 10 members can together join and make some small investment of developing a software, and that would be a viable solution for you. Hope that clarified.
There is one more question from Mr. Vital Sujir. Mr. Sujir, yes. May I request you to unmute and ask the question?
Yeah. Hi, Arun. Arun, how much time should I be looking for from a developer to whom I have provided all the data for him to make a website for me?
If it is a website, it based on the complexity of the requirement. So there is okay. I wanted to explain this earlier in my session, but unfortunately I missed that slide. I'm explaining that there are in online, whatever you see is a website. It can be considered as a website, but not everything is a website. There are web applications, which is called dynamic web applications, and web portals. What is a website? It is a static one. You can very well install a WordPress or a static HTML page, which is actually going to get up your website in 2 days of time. But it is not applicable for every cases. When it comes into something dynamic, which you want to operate something based on your requirement, the estimate may change from 15 days to any time, any any long-term thing. It can vary. So it is always better. You have to understand the developer capability of the team which you are interacting with, their capability, and discuss with them to understand what actually you are going to build, and how much time it will take. So they estimate and timeline for each module. It will be giving an information on how much time it will take. So it is a if I say that, it might not be a right answer. 2 weeks it will be up. It may not be. Say I can make a website up in hardly in 3 hours also. I can make a website up, but it might not fulfill your complete requirement. So it always based on your requirements. Hope that clarified. Yeah.
There are 2 more questions. First question
Please.
From Mr. Sujit Junjunwala, and second
Please.
question from Mr. Syed Hidayat. Mr. Sujit,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Arun.
Hi, sir.
Yeah. So generally, as I believe, developing a software requires a lot of time and effort. So do
Yes.
you advise to buy a ready-made solution which contain little less feature, to tackle this problem? What is your advice?
Yes, definitely a less costly product. And earlier I shown there are some productivity tools which can be used for free. So these are advisable. If you don't have you don't have to worry about your privacy. You don't have to worry about means not worry. You don't have any worry about sharing your privacy in some other platform. In that case, very well you can use those platforms for sure. Or buying a ready-made product. If it is an cloud-based software, there may be frequent updates which is coming. But if you install an installable software on a desktop or a mobile application, which may not get a frequent update, and also you need to be in line with the terms of service which the company is providing. You might not probably getting a customized solution where you can customize your softwares, means according to your requirement. So it is advisable only if it suits your requirement, and you don't have any trouble sharing your details in some other platform. So when you should approach a software is when you should approach a custom software development is like when you want to you really need it, and you actually it is going to help you in building your productivity, your team's productivity, or it is going to help you making more money, as I said in the earlier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Sujit. Next question by Mr. Syed Hidayat.
Hi Arun, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So my question is, how do you define the product, the software to be used, front end and back end? Because, for instance, there are some softwares which are primarily focused on e-commerce platforms. Speed is their focus, but at times when you're focusing on such backend, then you can't work on automations or artificial intelligence like Node. So, what do you suggest people? How should they define the software which they'll be using? The technology.
Is it the technology you are asking about?
Yeah, the technology stack.
Okay. First thing, like if I speak too much technical here, it might not be good. But we'll give you a heads up on this definitely, and you can later also you can discuss with me on what is your concern or doubts. See here, each software development architecture will be different based on the customer requirement. It is never going to be same for all. There is no common solution for all. There are certain things common. That is one thing. If you need a software, the software is required. That is the one common thing. It is nothing like you can use his software for your purpose. It may suitable, it may not be suitable. So the artificial intelligence and analytics or machine learning, these kind of things are mostly coming into the specific requirements of each customer. So by knowing that customer only, an architect is designing the solution for them. So that is the reason I'm saying I cannot reveal all those things on this platform here. We can discuss that later also. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you, Syed.
Hope that answered Seth's question.
Yeah, we will discuss this offline.
Sure. Thank you. The next question is from Mr. Vinod PG. His question is, he runs a GIS and remote sensing consultancy firm for starting an online training program for GIS. Please suggest the platforms. Since hands-on exercise is required, an online software platform has to be developed. Is that right? Is the question.
There is, if it comes under an LMS, learning management system is what I believe. So there are a lot of tools which is available. So for example, WebEx and Zoom is the new one which we are using. There are a lot of security issues and all raised in terms of Zoom. But however, still Zoom can be used. And if more people you want to accommodate, Zoom is helping you. And the platforms like Moodle, One term is Moodle, which is a LMS platform which you can set up online. You can make your codes, you can give the assignments, you can also share your video contents, you can give the assignment materials also in that platform. So that will be helping you to quickly set up. Or there are the Moodle is on open source. There is a standard version which you can purchase also. So there are some LMS training tools which is online or available on cloud. I'm not a frequent user of those tools, but still there are some available which you can very well Google it. You don't probably invest in developing your own software until unless you can sell it to someone else, not only in the training, because the training alone will not be sufficient to run the software. You can very well use any existing software. As Suchit sir earlier asked, is it recommended to use an existing software? That is here you need to apply. So you can, if you are alone, your organization alone handling this, you don't need to invest in developing a software. It is better to use someone else's platform.
Thank you. Mr. Hiren Modi has a question.
Please.
Hi, Arun.
Hi, sir.
Okay, so in regards to my business, what would be the best approach of building a software for a business which caters to wide variety of industrial segments and also constant change in the product profile?
Yeah, it should be a complete customizable software, not a custom software. It is a customizable software where you build the software. You should have some sort of tangible things, like these things are going to be changing frequently. So that parts can be made dynamic. Say for example, it is a simple case I'm explaining you. We all used Google Forms, where we have creating the forms dynamically and sharing it. So each person will have a different requirement of the forms, and all of us are able to create forms, not same form, right? So the same way, your requirement also should be satisfied with this kind of a platform where it can be customized, based on your requirement. It requires actually a lot of effort in building such a software, and your support, as I mentioned in one of my earlier slide, you should be spending time with the development team to make them understand what actually going to happen in the industry. It is basically the domain knowledge of yours is required in developing. The technical things alone is not sufficient. I believe this thing, that business first rather than the technical things. To satisfy the business, to improve the business only, we are building the softwares. So definitely the business have a 50% of the privilege and the tech have another 50% of the privilege. So both the things need to join together, then only 100% successful product can be built.
So I'm assuming it would be a long-term project.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. And again, since there's a constant change in the product profile, it would be, I think the interaction with the software development team would be, again, an ongoing process, like a retainership.
Come again, sir? I didn't get that.
I said, since there is a constant change in the product profile, so I'm assuming that the contract with the software development team would be more like a retainership model.
Yes, it would be a long-term contract where I will suggest the development should go in such a way that that incremental model. So you should not reveal your entire dream to the development team. You should consider this as a platform, and slowly you incorporate each functionality you require on the platform. So that would be the best approach. So maybe in 6 months of time, you will have a software ready which you will be running, but some changes comes in, you pay only for that change, and they will be delivering it to you as soon as possible. That would be a long-term contract, long-term better contract for this kind of a product development.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Arun.
Yeah,
Thank you,
very much.
Mr. Modi. Next question from Mrs. Sunita.
Yeah, Sunita ji, please.
Sunita, can you unmute your mic?
Hi, Arun.
Hi, ma'am.
So I'm into the field of training and coaching. So I have never approached, nor thought about having the software developed or whatever the requirements are. Have you done anything for the people in this field, any kind of software, because I want to later on interact with you?
Sunita ji, your voice is a little bit shaky. I'm unable to hear you properly.
I'm still looking at from your presentation what are the ways to.
So what I will do is I will ask. I will ask.
Have you done anything for people in the field of coaching and training?
I think the question from Sunita is she has never been into a coaching and training kind of function. Yeah, so Sunita ji, I will reframe your question. You can type it down to me also. What she's asking is being in training and coaching.
Okay,
she's never exposed any. She's never been.
I have never thought about building.
Yeah, so being in training and coaching, she's never thought about building any software that can support. Is there anything that you know that can support a training and coaching kind of function?
Okay, so definitely we can do. Say it is. I believe it is mostly to improve her students' productivity. Is that what I understand? Is that correct? Is it for the students' productivity or her own training productivity?
Both.
Yeah, we can definitely do something. So we need to understand how you run your training show. So based on that, we can suggest some solutions. We can figure out, definitely we can figure out solutions.
Thank you. Next question is, I'm asking on behalf of Mr. Sunil. Sunil's question is, what is viable website, having a website or using digital marketing strategies? Are they interconnected, especially for offline service-based industry? Which is better, having a viable active website or having an active digital marketing strategy?
Okay, so here there is nothing offline. You might be selling offline, you might be doing your services offline, but from where you are actually figured out. One way is your customer, word of mouth, or the platform like what we are in, or definitely someone is going to search in Google and they are redirected to yellow pages or just dial and these kind of.
I think Arun has just, yeah.
You on a targeted audience, you will get more website visitors. So the website which you develop should be, self-explanatory, or in such a way that it should help the person who visit your website to understand your quality, to book your services. So that way your website required to be maintained. And it is definitely, there is a connection between the digital marketing and website and SEO. All these are actually, comes under one umbrella. So what we call as the branding, digital marketing, website development, SEO, all these things together actually brings you the business. Not one single thing is going to bring you the business. So whatever the possible ways, you have to try all these, but measure which one gives you the best thing. Based on that, you have to decide. A website is a mandatory thing nowadays for any business, and we know everyone is communicating through the online medias right now. The increase in the internet usage in India has drastically increased in this lockdown time. So, which is going to continue.
Thank you. I just want to just put a point of order that it is 1 hour.
Yes.
We have taken 1 hour. And the next question is from Ananthan Krishnan. Please suggest any customer review management system that can be well integrated into our platform.
Which one? Customer review
any
management
customer
system?
Review management system.
Yeah, most of the CRM tools have that feature. So, say like HubSpot and Bittrex 24, you can try. There is a module which you can incorporate in your website, or you can utilize some follow-up emails, which you can collect the reviews and you can publish it on your own platforms. That is better. So,
Sure.
Vijay sir,
that's a question.
Like, do you have many questions? Too many?
No, I think that was the last question that came.
Okay, please.
Does anyone has any other question? We'll be happy to take it at the email ID that is now showing on your screen. So what you could do is, if you have any more questions, you can type it to arun@neonicz.com. And any more questions?
Or you can WhatsApp me.
Or you can WhatsApp you. Arun, can you please state your number?
8592947700.
So you have your number also coming up on your screen right now, so you can invite.
Yes, and this Calendly also you can book my timing. You can see my schedules. So I'm happy to offer 30 minutes of free consulting for any of your requirements, discussing that, or you want to plan. I'm happy to share this with you.
Friends, you have 2 questions that are coming up on your screen. The first question is, would you like to receive a copy of the list of all the EC web links that you saw in the presentation? Second is, would you like a copy of the summary of today's webinar to be sent to your email? Please put your responses and we will respond accordingly. Thank you.
Arun, very informative. Thank you very much on behalf of every other member in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujay sir.
Thank you, Arun. It was really informative. I think we'll soon have a session on this.
Sure, sir.
Further.
So I prefer a feedback to my WhatsApp or email. Anybody can post. I'm happy to receive.
Yeah, Arun, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Arun, what are the legal restrictions for developing a commercial software or mobile app? Any restrictions are there?
It depends on the field you are going to develop the software. Say, for example, you cannot develop a software for defense.
Okay.
Selling ads. So, it depends on the what area you are going to build. So, if you are building more into an e-commerce platform, you may consult a CA and a startup legal folks like Smriti and Suchit sir will be helpful for you. They will be more helpful in the legal aspects.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And you can log off. Each one of you can log off. If you have any more questions, you can stay back and ask any questions. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day, productive day ahead.
Thank you, Arun. Thanks for the great session. Thank you so much.
Very informative. Okay. I had invited some visitors. I think they are giving feedback also.